Ravi, can you do it full screen, please?
Good evening, everyone. Hello, and welcome to this webinar session. Hi, I'm Arohi, and I am Associate Dean of Health and Wellness Department here at AAFT Online. And today with me, I have Dr. Kirti, who is associated again with AAFT Online as the program leader for our hospital management course. Dr. Kirti is a proficient dental surgeon, administrator, and public health specialist with over a decade of experience in the healthcare industry. Having worked with renowned hospitals such as Fortis and Escorts, her professional journey includes past associations with private clinics, healthcare startups, and military hospitals. And also, I am privileged to have with us today Professor Anupam Sibal, a distinguished figure in pediatric gastroenterology and hepatology, currently serving as the Group Medical Director of Apollo Hospital Groups and a senior consultant there. Professor Sibal has led groundbreaking initiatives, notably India's first successful liver transplant program in 1998, now which is the world's busiest one. With over 4,300 liver transplants, including 256 pediatric cases, his impact is profound. Professor Sibal is also an esteemed author, educator, and president of the Global Association of Physicians of Indian origin. His relentless dedication to advancing medicine is evident through his honorary professorship at Macquarie University and advisory roles. Let's warmly welcome Professor Sibal, whose remarkable contributions have transformed the healthcare worldwide. It's my honor to have you here, Dr. Sibal.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Arohi, for those kind words. Of course, not deserving of the praise that you've showered on me, but thank you so much.
And also, sir, before we begin with today's session, I would like to present a small token of appreciation to you, which is a small award for excellence from the International Chamber of Media and Entertainment Industry for your outstanding contribution in the healthcare sector. Please,
Thank you so much.
it, sir.
Thank you very much.
So, sir, today we have with us many learners who are, wanting to make hospital management or healthcare management as their career in future. And because you are someone who's like, who's had so much of experience in this field. So I would just want to ask you a few questions, which the learners might also have in their mind. That as a leader with so much of experience that you have, what's your perspective on the essential leadership skills which are invaluable, which you think should be incorporated as a leader?
Right, Arohi, Kirti, friends who've joined this session, good afternoon. Very important question you've posed, Arohi, in terms of skills. Call them skills, you want to call them values, you want to call them virtues, what have you. But it's extremely important that there is, a set of values that you hold dear, which will help define what kind of a leader you become or you are. Gandhiji had said that for other virtues to develop, there is one virtue that is essential that must be present, and that virtue is humility. And he believed that humility sets the stage for other virtues to appear. Because if you're not humble, then firstly, many people will be hesitant to come to you with ideas, with suggestions, with problems, with solutions. The second is, if you're not humble and you think you know it all, then you will really not have an open mind. And when you do not have an open mind, then quite often you are resistant to change. And let's face it, who doesn't like to talk to someone who's humble, and who out there doesn't feel uncomfortable talking to someone who really is doesn't come across as being humble, someone who sort of thinks too much of her or himself, or is arrogant. So I think humility is an essential value that one should strive towards. And it's a lifelong journey, because it's not like you practice humility for a few days or a few weeks, and then you believe that you've mastered this virtue of humility, and the moment you think you're humble, then you're not humble, because that's the way it's supposed to be. In fact, a friend sent me a WhatsApp, and these days you get some amazing wisdom. Of course, you get a lot of things to waste your time on WhatsApp, but sometimes you do get some very useful nuggets. And he said, that WhatsApp said, written on someone's cover was this statement, which I think is so profound. मैं अहम था, यही वहम था. It's very simple, but very deep, very, very profound. And if you can remember this every single day, that you're really not important. Life carried on before you. It'll carry on beautifully after you. In fact, might even be better. So to attach so much of importance to who you are, what you do, my position, my this, I am that, the more we can try and control that, the better leader one becomes. So humility is the first one. Then, of course, it's extremely important to believe in honesty and integrity. And as has been said, integrity means not having any need for rules. It's doing the right thing when you know nobody's watching. You know, people are very cautious about doing the right thing when you're under surveillance, when you know somebody is watching on you. But doing the right thing when you know nobody's watching is really integrity. So I think honesty, integrity, extremely important. Perseverance. Talk to anyone who's successful, and they will tell you that it takes a long time sometimes to achieve your goal. And many people give up just when they're going to get there because they're just tired, they're exhausted, they just don't have the stamina left. So I think perseverance, this spirit of not giving up, is extremely important. And just keep pushing. Success will eventually come knocking, but it might not happen at the time you had planned it, because let's understand one thing, what they say in Japanese philosophy, wabi sabi: life is supposed to be perfectly imperfect. So you think you're going to have this perfect plan and you know exactly, I'm going to do this in 3 years and 5 years and 10 years. But surprise, surprise, it's not going to work out like that in many ways. So you have to keep pushing. You have to have that spirit of perseverance. You have to push hard, and you have to never give up. The fourth virtue that I believe is extremely important is that handling pressure. Now, there is no one who's not under pressure. There's this pressure of performance, wanting to excel at what you're doing, be fantastic at home, be fantastic at work, be the best friend that anyone can hope to have, be an amazing sibling, a spouse, a parent, a child, a colleague, a supervisor, a manager. Um, but life's not supposed to be smooth. When you build yourself into this pressure cooker like atmosphere, then you make it harder than it's meant to be. So pressure is something that you have to be able to handle, that everyone has to be able to handle. And let me tell you something that I've learned from Swami Gyan Das ji. And this is a part of the book I wrote, which is really about leadership, though it's called Is Your Child Ready to Face the World? So although it's set in the stage of parenting with a father and mother communicating with their child, but it's really about becoming a better human being. So once a head of state was taken to the Akshardham temple, and that, Akshardham temple is an amazing temple. It not just is a temple, but it gives a fantastic exposition of India's culture over 10,000 years. So many heads of state go there. And this head of state from a country was taken there. And after the tour, he asked Swamiji, give me some spiritual advice. I find the pressure of running my country too much. What would you offer as advice? So this is what Swami Gyan Manidas ji said. And he said, when you carry a pitcher of water on your head, you feel that the load is too much because you're very worried that you will spill the water, right? But when you go diving in the ocean, you have gallons and gallons of water above you. Do you feel the pressure? And the head of state said, no. And Swamiji said, well, the difference is when you're carrying the pitcher, you believe you are carrying the pitcher. When you go diving, there is no I. And when the I goes, the pressure ceases, the pressure goes away. So, Mr. President, don't think you're running the country. Remove the I, and the pressure will ease. Another virtue that I think is extremely important to have is courage. You have to be bold to take some decisions which others might be hesitant to take. Because, unless you do that, you will be in that safe zone. So you have to have that confidence, that courage. Listen, let me try this and let's see if it works. And well, if it doesn't, then I would have learned something. And if it works, well, then I'd be successful. So courage is extremely important. And one very important virtue that I think that we need to accept as being very important, and we don't see too much of that. And I can say that as a parent, I can say that as someone who deals with children every day, is that our children perhaps don't practice gratitude as much as they should. And actually, it's not their fault at all, because they haven't seen their parents practice gratitude. See, we don't realize the value of something till we've lost it. We don't understand how precious good health is till we become sick. We do not understand or appreciate the value of a true friend till we have a disagreement or an argument. And I think we should all learn from one example of one fantastic person in history who really understood the power of gratitude. And his name was Arthur Ashe. Arthur Ashe was an amazing tennis player. He was the first African American to win the US Open. He won the Wimbledon in what is described as one of the most incredible matches in the history of the Grand Slam. And he then established ATP. He had a huge fan following. Then at the age of 35, he had a heart attack. He had a bypass surgery. 4 years later, he had another bypass surgery. And then he announced to the world that he was dying of AIDS. And this happened because, in those days, blood was not tested for HIV, the virus that produces AIDS. And because of the blood transfusion that he received during his second bypass, he ended up getting the HIV virus and developing AIDS. So his friends were devastated, and one of them wrote and said, "Why does God have to give you such a horrible disease?" And this is what Arthur Ashe said. The world over 50 million children start playing tennis. 5 million learn to play tennis. 500,000 learn professional tennis. 50,000 come to the circuit. 5,000 reach the Grand Slam, 50 reach the Wimbledon, 4 the semifinals, and 2 to the finals. And when I was holding the cup, I didn't say, "God, why me?" So today in pain, I cannot be asking, "Why me?" So these are some of the virtues that I believe define leadership and can help make one a better leader. Arohi.
Yeah, I think so. It was very well explained with small examples that you gave, and that was very well put together. So, sir, as a seasoned leader in hospital management, you must have actually encountered various challenges in your career. Can you throw some light on some of the biggest hurdles that you faced and how you tried to navigate through them?
See, I don't think I'm a seasoned leader. I think I'm a learner and a student who wants to learn each day and try to perform better today than I did yesterday. But we have to realize that, in healthcare, there are several challenges. So, like, for example, if you were to ask any of your friends, everybody posts a lot of stuff on social media. How do they feel when they're actually going into the hospital, say, to have a root canal treatment, right? Nobody says, "Hey, it's my lucky day today," and puts it on Insta, "I'm going to have a root canal treatment." Or if someone's having a colonoscopy, they don't go around putting it on Facebook. "Wow, special day today, having a colonoscopy," right? Nobody wants to see a doctor if they can help it. Nobody wants to go to a clinic. Nobody wants to go to a hospital if they can help it. So anyone who walks in really has a lot of anxiety, stress, might be in pain, very worried about what's going to happen. What is the doctor going to say? What is the healthcare provider going to say? What is the nurse going to say? So you have to realize, as someone who works in healthcare, as a healthcare manager, as a healthcare professional, as a doctor, that whoever comes to see you is stressed. So remember that. So you need that extra bit of compassion. You need that empathy. You need the patience. You might have to say the same thing 10 times over, because 9 times the patient hasn't or the relative hasn't registered because they're too stressed. So the challenge that one has to face in running a hospital or a healthcare facility is that um, you get tired at times having to say the same thing over and over again. And you have to have this huge treasure of patience that sometimes you run out of. So it can be challenging when you end up saying something which is then perceived by the patient or the relative, and you have to realize that they are not in the best frame of mind because they are stressed, as being uncaring. So from time to time, anyone in healthcare will feel these situations where someone in the team has said something which was construed as being unkind or not being empathetic enough, and then you have to deal with that challenge. Of course, there are always issues that come up when you have large teams, that egos become important. In fact, more important than they should be. So arguments ensue, and your job as a leader is to get the two sides to agree to how to be able to work together, even though there might be differences and not everyone will see a situation in exactly the same light. And so that is a challenge that comes up. And then, of course, you have to realize that you are dealing with death. You're dealing with very serious illnesses in a hospital environment, and there are patients who will not get better. There are patients who, will be sent home perhaps to spend the last few days or weeks of their life at home with their loved ones. And of course, one has to learn to deal with death. So all of these can be very challenging, and they require a very solid value system. They require the ability to navigate difficult situations, and situations like this come very often in healthcare. So therefore, whoever wants to have a career in healthcare needs to be prepared to deal with these situations, because they are common. They're common in healthcare. Arohi.
Yeah, absolutely, sir. Absolutely well said. So, what I gauge from here is, sir, that balancing that administrative duties which you have and with the patient-centric care, that is actually a very key challenge maybe in healthcare management. So, how do you maintain this balance, or what is your approach towards maintaining this balance to ensure that both these aspects, they get adequate attention?
So you see, we have really three types of people in when we're talking about doctors. So you're going to have doctors who practice clinical medicine alone. Then we'll have some doctors who will be pure administrators, and then we have some doctors who are administrators and continue to do their clinical work. So first of all, the ones who actually do both clinical and administrative work really have to be able to handle both these assignments with finesse. So this requires, of course, a fair amount of time management. This, of course, requires having a strong team. This requires the skill to organize, to depute, and then supervise. It requires careful planning, and it requires one to be able to juggle the two roles as the need may be. And sometimes the need varies on a day-to-day basis, sometimes it doesn't. So it's a question of prioritizing and realizing that you, of course, can't do everything. So it's a lot about supervision, and it's a lot about being able to delegate well, to be able to manage that. Of course, what is common is that you're there for the patient. You're there for the patient as an administrator. You're there for the patient as a clinician. And patient centricity is the key. You have to think, is this in the best interest of my patient as a clinician or as a manager? And if that is really what guides you, then one will be able to straddle both roles. But of course, it requires a fair amount of skills in managing time effectively. Arohi.
Yeah, sir. Thank you so much for taking that up, sir. And moving ahead, sir, I'm sure like identifying future leaders in any field, taking a hospital management here is very, very crucial, right? So how do you identify individuals who have potential leadership skills, or how do you pinpoint that, okay, this is someone, who can become a good leader?
Arohi, what happens is that there are people who stand out for whatever. It might be because they go beyond the call of duty. They don't look at the watch when it's time to go home. They look at assignments. They sort of look at completing the assignments or responsibilities that they have with the spirit of excellence. They have this ability to go beyond what would be the expectation, and they in many ways stand out. So you have to have a keen eye, and you have to have your ears out to listen to something good that you might hear, and then interact with that person and figure out if that person has the potential. So there was once this wholesale supplier of vegetables, and he had these two people working for him, and both of them were very ambitious. And he told one of them, like, listen, I want some asparagus, so figure out where can I get asparagus, what is it going to cost? And he gave the same assignment to both people. So both of them came back in a day, and the first guy said, we can get asparagus from here and here. It comes at this and this time in the morning, and this is the cost. And the second guy said, well, we can get asparagus. It comes from the following different sources: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. These are the locations where you can get it. If If you go and get it between 8 and 9, this is the cost. If you try and get it at 5 p.m., this is the cost. Some days the cost varies. On the weekend, the cost is different. If you actually buy in bulk, this is the cost. If you buy small amounts, this is the cost. If you order in advance, this is the cost. And obviously, the second guy is going to get that promotion, right? So it's how you take your assignment and how much energy you have and how much enthusiasm you display, and the hard work that you put in that defines how you're going to move ahead in your career. So simply put, you just have to be on the lookout. Arohi.
All right, great, sir. So, sir, also it is believed that leadership is often tested during, crisis time. So, if you could just elaborate on how crucial it is to manage that crisis in the hospital setup and how leaders can navigate through it.
Yeah, so Arohi, crisis is really when you get to know if someone has the ability to lead teams or not. So the biggest crisis that all of us have faced in healthcare, and that virtually every citizen in the country or the world has been the COVID pandemic. So when it struck, we really had very limited amount of time to be able to prepare ourselves to look at all the problems, all the challenges that might come our way, and how is it that we could prepare. So from setting up facilities for testing, getting the labs accredited, build capacity to have a seamless flow in terms of collection of samples and managing to get in patients, then managing the treatment of the patients, creating the isolation wards, getting all the PPEs, training all the staff, getting them all uh, focused on the task in hand. And it wasn't easy because staff was putting their lives at risk, and to be in that PPE suit for 8 hours and not being able to take a toilet break wasn't easy. And that then treatment modalities were changing. So we had Apollo, for example, launch Project Quach, 360-degree approach on managing, on treating, and then on prevention. In terms of vaccination, we converted hotel rooms into observation areas. We connected them digitally so that patients could be monitored. And all this meant mobilizing very large teams, getting them excited about what they were doing with one common goal, that we are going to do the best we can for our patients. And it really required everyone coming together, speaking in one voice, debating, deliberating, and then arriving on a consensus with this deep purpose to make sure that every life is saved and every patient's looked after well. We created the Red Book on all protocols, and that was modified several times. We also had the standard treatment guidelines, which we modified, I think, 58 times. And once we modified twice during a week when the Solidarity trial showed that steroids work. And once that trial came out, then we had to modify the guidelines twice in one week. So it really was about getting everybody together and focusing and being one strong team. And I think that was really a huge learning. And COVID taught us many lessons.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think that COVID period was a bit tough and a big teacher in itself. All right, sir. So I believe that in the healthcare leadership, as we are focusing on today, emotional intelligence also somewhere plays a significant role. If you could elaborate on how that contributes towards an effective leadership in this particular sector.
Well, I think emotional intelligence is extremely important in any sector, but more so in healthcare, because you're dealing with illness, you're dealing with people who come to you in a state of distress. You're actually dealing with um, healthcare professionals who get burnt out. You are dealing with situations where there's a fair amount of stress. When someone loses a patient, the healthcare providing team also goes through an emotional turmoil. So emotional intelligence is extremely critical in healthcare. It's how you broach a particular assignment. It's how you communicate with your team. It's how you communicate with the patients, how you communicate with their families. So emotional intelligence is very critical. It's how you say that, the choice of words, what goes before what is extremely critical. It's by asking your team to do things, by creating, as Dale Carnegie would say, an eager want. See, nobody does anything unless they want to do it. You cannot tell someone do this and they'll do it. No, they won't. They'll only do it if they want to do it. So as a leader, it's your job to create that excitement, that calling, that inner want that I want to do this. And this, of course, requires a skill set in there, and where emotional intelligence plays a critical role by asking something to do a particular assignment or whatever indirectly. You don't say, go do it. It's how do you say that the person actually wants to go ahead and do that? And there are different schools of thought on how you get that going. There are different methodologies. There are some phenomenal books available on leadership to be able to do that. I mean, there's a fascinating way of life in Korea. It's called the nunchi, is where you study the atmosphere of a room. And unless you have a lot of emotional intelligence, you won't be able to do that. You have to gauge what is the atmosphere of the room. You have to gauge how one person is interacting with the other. You have to gauge the right timing, the right choice of words to say something to someone so that it has the desired impact. Now, if someone is tired and is irritable and really wants to go home at that point in time, and you give them the most exciting idea, they're really not going to focus on it at that point in time. And if you say the same thing again the next morning, or you say it for the first time the next morning when the person's relaxed, excited, looking forward to an important day at work, and you say that, you'll get a totally different reaction. So if you don't have the emotional intelligence, you'll say the right thing at the wrong time, you'll say the wrong thing at the right time, and you won't have the choice of words. You won't know how exactly to articulate it. You will not have the right body language. So it's extremely important to have emotional intelligence, and everybody can build on that.
Yeah, absolutely. It's very important, that timing and choice of words, as you said. So I believe, so you are a great motivator as well. And how do you motivate your team, people working with you? How do you keep them motivated, that they are full with energy, and every day when they're at work, they are at their best? How do you do it?
So I think the first and important component of that is to have belief in your team, that everyone out there is trying to do their best. You have to make sure that they continue to do their best. And if you feel that there are areas where they can do with some help, you point indirectly to that by starting off by pointing at your own faults. Because everybody has a lot of faults. And Gandhiji had once said that, not being flawless myself, I shall not go into talking about other people's faults. So, you start talking about what you can improve in yourself, and then talk about getting the other person to improve. And they will do that automatically if you talk about it indirectly. And it's really, again, goes down to how do you broach the topic. So the key in motivating people is that, one, you have to be motivated yourself. You have to lead by example. Now, if you put in 6 hours, and out of those 6 hours, your productivity is 4.5, don't expect your team to put in 10 hours of work and be productive for all 10. So you have to lead by example, and people closely observe how you behave, how you conduct yourself, how you focus, how do you deliver. And so one of the key things about motivating others is to make sure that you perform at your peak. And when you do that, others tend to get that energy. And of course, every little success has to be celebrated. You have to be very, very generous in compliments, and you should be very, very stingy when it comes to criticism.
Yeah, I think very rightly put, and we all can, take up this and use it in our daily lives. So, sir, in such a demanding field like healthcare, obviously maintaining a work-life balance can be very challenging. How do you, as a leader and as an eminent, doctor, how do you strike that balance? Or, if I may put it, what would your advice be to, other doctors who are trying to, strike that balance?
Well, it's extremely important in any profession to have that work-life balance. You have to make out time for things that you really value, make out time for things that actually make you feel more relaxed, make out time for doing things that give you a lot of joy above and your work. But very importantly, you have to realize that in healthcare, this is a very demanding job. It's a 24/7, 365. Yes, you'll be able to take some time out, but you won't be able to take huge amounts of time out. So you really have to love what you do. Because if you love what you do, then it's not going to seem like work. It's going to seem like something very pleasurable, something that you look forward to, something you're excited about each morning, something that you really enjoy. So that's, I think, very, very important, because this whole work-life balance needs to be looked at in that light. So if you are compartmentalizing and saying, oh, work is something that, I have to just do because I need to make a living and I have responsibilities, and you have that load. But if work is pure joy, and it's therefore very important to find what gives you that kick, what gives you pure joy, finding that assignment or that job or that profession uh, that really makes you happy, that you feel is your calling, and that you feel is something that you can make a big difference with that. When you look at it, then work is not work. But having said that, you still have to have interest, have hobbies, and find time during the week to be able to do that. It's extremely important to have a lot of discipline, because if you don't have discipline, you're not going to be able to get the work-life balance. So, discipline in terms of the time you get up, discipline in terms of exercise, discipline in terms of the time you eat food, what kind of food you eat, and what time you start your day and what time your day ends is extremely important. And if you are able to do that, you'll be able to make time for a lot of pleasurable sort of non-work related activities.
Yes, sir. So, sir, we have a question from one of our learners who's put in that how important role does the counseling play in any form, like doctor to patient, business relation associate to doctors, etc. So that counseling part, how important is that in leadership?
I think it's very important, and mentorship, counseling, all very important. And these are things that one should be very open to and look in a positive manner, because everybody can gain from some advice from someone else who might have more experience in the field, giving some nuggets of information, knowledge, wisdom, what experience has taught them, and to share that and to receive that with an open mind, I think, is very helpful and very positive.
All right, so what would be, your one advice to aspiring learners who want to make their careers in this hospital management sector? What would be your one advice to them?
Well, I think I'll quote my hero again, Gandhiji, and he said, live each day as if it's your last, learn each day as if you live forever.
Wow, that was amazing
So
and very
be a student
well.
for life.
Yes. Yeah, very well put. There is no end to learning and there is no age bar to learning. Yes. So thank you, Dr. Sibal. Thank you so much for your time. It was great to have had shared this platform with you. Thank you so much for
Thank you
your
so
insights and
much.
expertise.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you, sir.
So, Dr. Kirti, I would, want you to elaborate a little on what career options do, people have after doing a certified course in hospital management. What options do they have? Like, there are so many doors which open up to them. So, if you could elaborate a little on all of that.
Yes. Hi, everyone. Good afternoon. And thank you for having me here. So, like Dr. Sibal explained it so well, such multifaceted and multi-dimensional, entire healthcare system, the hospital system is, people from all backgrounds, from all educational backgrounds, and even different occupations also, they all merge together when it comes to running a hospital, be it IT, be it marketing, be it finance, be it general administration, or clinical, non-clinical, all sides of aspects. So it doesn't matter which educational background you are from. But doing a course or a degree or diploma course or a degree course in hospital management, it adds to your skill value. One thing is that, okay, it like most of the diploma courses are very practical based, very job oriented. So more than the theory, you will learn the actual, practical aspects, what actually happens in a hospital, that you come to know through these, if you upskill yourself through such courses. And hospitals are in demand. They are looking for skilled people, they are looking for such people who have such specialized, expertise in running a big entity, a big institution like a hospital altogether. So I would say, doing such, adding a diploma or a degree to your kitty will definitely, it will add not just to your CV, it will add to your self development, it will add to your professional growth, it will add to your personality development altogether. So you will learn a lot of things through this, and which are in today's world, will put you at an edge. It will give you a competitive edge over others, which people maybe from the clinical background they don't have. So if you have something like this, it will be an added advantage. Thank you.
Great, Dr. Kirti. Also, if you could just elaborate on what essential skills would be taught in a hospital management course and how they can facilitate towards the growth and career of a learner who's seeking to make their, long-term career in healthcare management.
So, starting from management skills, just not just managing people around you who are maybe your subordinates or people around you, but also how to manage your time, how to manage your resources, since it's a, you'll be running a hospital is not an easy job, right? There are limited resources and you have to, uh, budget it and finance. You have to see the entire thing, that uh, patient care should not be compromised in any way. So that is the ultimate aim. So in our course, and through this course, you will learn how to manage your skills, you manage your time, manage your finances, how to manage your resource utilization. We'll see how to do that, how to improve the processes, how to implement systematization, standardization to your routine, how to add, how to resolve conflicts. Maybe, you'll learn all those conflict resolution skills. So basically, as HRs, as marketing professionals, all departmental wise, you will see how, in any field, in any department, if you are placed later on, you will be able to manage, the entire thing. So that, I think that will be an added bonus of doing such courses.
All right, Dr. Kirti, thank you for elaborating what all do we offer in the course. Also, Anuradha Prabhu is asking that as someone who's just completed their master's in healthcare management, what would be the job profile or the job options available as a fresher if they enter into this?
As a fresher, if they want to enter, right? Okay. So yeah, after MBA, it's your avenues have increased a lot. I would say you have if you can, there are various departments. Like I said, there are various, not just marketing or something like that. But in most of the departments, they require executives who want to, you can be a part of the operations team, you can be a part of the administrative team, and depending on, I don't know what your background is, depending on that, maybe you can be a part of the hospital team, and you can start from the IPT executives, OPD executives, or you can eventually, there's a particular hierarchy or chain of command which runs in most of the corporate hospitals and most of the big hospitals. So if you start, maybe you can starting from a patient care coordinator roles, maybe you can go on to, I become IPD head of the departments, and later on, depends on how your performance is, how your grasp is, and how your, how you learn and how you grow in the field. So it all depends on that.
Yeah, so
So,
Dr. Kirti, if you could just elaborate a bit
sure.
on, the different segments which the healthcare sector has and, the
Yes.
other
So,
things which it has.
right. So, when we talk about the segments in healthcare, right, we usually just think of, hospital comes to our mind. But, but if you go deep into the sector and you delve deeper into the subject, you will see it's not only, hospitals like Apollo or Fortis or Manipal or, such bigger names, but there are, smaller hospitals, smaller bedded, some lesser number of bedded hospitals too, and it can be both. Government hospitals are also part of it. Then there are private hospitals which are part of it. And other than the hospital setups, there are, smaller clinical setups, smaller nursing homes are there, or specialized care centers like dialysis units or diabetic centers, or specialized for mother and child care entities. So there are the hospital sector can be divided into various strata, various segments, depending on the size and the speciality that they have to offer. So other than the hospitals, there is the pharmaceutical aspect to healthcare too, which is a very much, which holds a very big share. Without pharmaceutical sector, I don't any healthcare sector to achieve what it has been able to achieve over these years, over the last, all the research and all the development of new pharmaceuticals, and not just its manufacturing, but the research and the clinical research and the development and all that which goes into making a drug and pharmaceutical. That also is a part of it. Then another sector which is booming amongst in the industry, and paving the way for the future, is the diagnostic part of it. We all saw how after the COVID-19 pandemic, uh, the number of diagnostic centers, they just, in our, not just urban areas, but in smaller 2-tier, 3-tier cities also, urban areas also, number of diagnostic facilities came up. And with uh, earlier you had to go to the diagnostic center to give your samples, but now they have all so expanded themselves, and the operations have become so vast that now you just have to book it on the WhatsApp, and it's on your doorstep. Diagnostic facilities are there. So you see how operations part of it is all expanding. And when it all expands, it the demand for professionals who can run the show for the sector, it also increases alongside. So other than diagnostics, a very important part of healthcare sector is the medical equipment and supplies part. All the boom that we are seeing in the diagnostics, the technology that we have seen that has swept away in, it has come up in the medical equipment. So the technology which is we can, diagnose such even the mind such complicated cases like cancer and all, much before, in the earliest of the stages, than ever before, than it was possible ever before. So we see how it is also expanding. And so it's not just one part which grows, when a portion of a industry evolves, so it takes the entire sector with it. So pharmaceuticals also benefit out of it. Diagnostic sector also benefits. More demands, as more it rises, more the medical equipments and supplies portion gets the benefit. Then the medical insurance part, it has been after COVID, we saw how people got aware about how important it is to get your health insured, in times of crisis. All that you had saved in the earlier years, all that will actually you require that, and how it can be a saving grace for it. It was proven at that time. So medical insurance sector, we are seeing, multiple exponential growth in this sector. And telemedicine has been like, Earlier, it was one odd rare, very few doctors who were available on call, and it was hard. You had to go to the clinic or the hospital to meet the doctor. But COVID-19 made it all possible, right? Now, telemedicine, no doctor has been, you can, any specialty, any sort of ailment, you can find it online, just book an appointment, and there the doc you can you can consult the doctor. So you can see how uh, it was already expanding, how it was there, but now the common people are also involved, and it has all added to the vast sector now that healthcare has become and is bound to become in the coming years. We are going to see a huge exponential growth in the sector. So these are some domains, like I said, these are some rising demand where the demands are rising. Specialized healthcare centers, right? Like I said, now patients are aware, they are educated, they know what they want. They are before coming to a hospital, they have already maybe Googled their symptoms and they know which kind of doctor they are going to see. So maybe see they know which MD, MS, which doctor they are going to see. So, demand for specialized care is increasing. So other than the tertiary hospitals where you can find all specialty doctors there, but specialized healthcare centers, which are limited to certain ailments and certain medical conditions, like I just said, like dialysis units or diabetic units. They are very convenient for the patients, one, and they are very easy to reach for the patients. So these are growing, right? Then super specialty, we already spoke, private clinic practices, diagnostic lab, all these centers. Again, rising demands, I already discussed. Academics and research. Now, as technology seeps in, more and more, you have the demand for this thing rises, healthcare sector rises. So does the need for more skilled people and more, these pharmaceuticals and equipment. So academics and research prospects always, they go hand in hand in such cases. So health projects and programs, which are run by both governments and non-government organizations, and which we can see all around us with rising. People they are trying to set up more and more health projects all over the country. Then pharmaceutical MNCs, NGOs, trusts, I already spoke. Then we have entrepreneurship possibilities. After doing such courses, you will learn from the start, from the scratch. You will learn how to set up a clinic and what all ingredients will come together. You'll get the entire recipe in one place. So you'll know how to go ahead with the business, how to go ahead with the startups. Medical tourism also is a healthcare. We have seen a boom here since India. We are at par. The facilities here are at par. So we have seen how huge the demand. People from Africa, European nations, even Middle East nations, they are coming in huge numbers to India for the treatments. Health insurance sector, again, a very much in demand sector, and it is going to grow. It's going to grow. So this is just a graph from, I think this is from the Niti Aayog website, and it shows the trend of the sector, how it has since 2008. You can see it has almost, such eightfold. It has already risen in 2022. We can see. So you can see the graph curve, right? Okay. So if we talk about the impacts, right? If we talk about how uh, upskilling or doing such courses like one of the viewers has just asked, we to explain that better. There has been an increasing demand for the healthcare services. Like I said, people are more aware. They want to, they want to, earlier people used to neglect, small, put some small skin defect or maybe some, a lot of hair fall. But now people, they want to, with the exposure, with the awareness, they want to consult the doctors. If if it's all available on phone, just a click away, prescription is just a click away. So it is getting easier now. So that is why the demand is also increasing. And, but like I said, we have a qualified pool of doctors who are well trained, they know how to deal with the curative aspect of the diseases. But in our education curriculum, maybe medical curriculum, somewhere, administrative aspect is lacking somewhere. So I think such courses like MBA or diploma or degree in hospital management will, it will give you that extra knowledge and extra edge over, that will help in the professional career growth as well, and your self-development also. So it all started with COVID-19. It was like an awakening. People came to know how important, overnight things changed, and such a crisis can loom with, if we were not prepared. So now people want to be prepared, some contingency management plan has come up. So COVID-19, it was like a awakening for all of us, and for both healthcare professionals also, and for the patients also. So it was, we all got to know the loopholes. So, so with the career prospects, I just spoke, like one of the viewers has also asked, where can they start? So these are some, entry level or mid senior level positions, which graduates, postgraduates who have done some diploma or a degree course can start with, patient care managers and health listed, all corporate or non-corporate hospitals. Then patient relations liaising, because doctor has a, they don't run single handedly these days. They have an entire team running with them, right? Starting from their patient coordinators, appointment schedulers, and follow-up coordinators, ward coordinators. Doctors has a huge team working with them. So they want somebody, who are skilled in that particular aspect. So patient relations liaising part comes in the way. Then we have the quality and the service excellence team, who look after the patient safety, and they see that the entire ecosystem is safe for not just the patients, but the staff, the employees, everybody who is working. So they look after that. So this is also one aspect that most of us can look for quality. Then the floor operations manager, every floor, every ward, they need someone who can supervise, who can oversee the operation. So those executives, those supervisors, they are much needed. Then there are public health professionals. If you have the skill of if you have the passion for community health, and if you think you can fit in, if you can deal with that, then public health is a very in demand course these days. And you can, even the hospitals, they want who can deal with number of peoples, not just sit single-handedly. So public health professions is another one. Then TPA is also third party assistance, which for insurance sector, that is also a one aspect. Then academicians, research associate, I already spoke. Consultants, as consultants, if you hold a some specialized you have a specialized subject, some skill, some expertise in any subject, then you can become a consultant with the healthcare hospitals. Now that the digital health and social media is up now, so digital people who are pro in digital sites, and they know how to run computers, and they know how to become digital health executive. It is a very good, it can be a good start for your career. And if you have already been in the system, you have already been there, then maybe with after doing such courses, maybe you can directly start from being hospital senior administrators or senior managers, and maybe if you are from the medical background, then medical directors, medical superintendents, and later on maybe become the dean. So it all depends what is your educational background right now. So the same you can see, if you start as in the doctor's team, if you start with physician, liaison as a physician liaison, then maybe you can go on to become, with your performance and with your perseverance, you can become branch utility manager and eventually come up with, come to patient care coordinator role or some clinical role. Then maybe, IPD, OPD executive or some supervisors, and that ways you can go up the ladder and you can go up the hierarchy. uh Same operations flow manager, and like that you can grow in the system. So what are the eligibility criteria? So like I said, it's a multi-departmental, it's a, it's a rainbow of departments, and you can, anybody who has passed class 12th and can, is eligible to do such course. But aspiring students who are, looking for a career growth in healthcare industry, if they have the passion, if they want to work in the healthcare sector, they can, from any background, let it be, okay. And then healthcare professionals who are already in the system, who are, from the maybe clinical background or non-clinical background, but they are from the biology or medical background. So they, if they want to upskill themselves, upgrade their knowledge, they can. This course is definitely going to help such people. Entry level or mid level managers who are currently overseeing hospital operations or willing to do so in the future. So they can become. Then professionals working with healthcare setups already, like I said, and public health organizations, some non governmental organizations, private voluntary organizations. So they, government is always looking for capacity building and looking for skilled consultants all the time. So this is somewhere you can look at. Then entrepreneurship, of course, if you aspire to be your own boss and if you aspire to open your own business someday, just want to learn the basics. So I think this diploma will definitely help you, because we'll start learning from the step one. So this will take you to wherever you want to reach. So this was from my side. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Kirti, for such an insightful, talk on how the learners can actually pave their way in this field. So, a very common question which pops up is that, is this field only restrictive to the medical professionals, or people from other areas can also enter into this and make their mark in here?
Yeah, so like I earlier also said, it's not limited to only medical background or people from biology background. It's not limited to that. If you are from commerce background or if you are from finance background, if you're any graduate who has the passion, who has the liking of, if you can want to learn the nuances of working in a healthcare industry, you please go ahead and please join, because there is a huge scope for all sorts of background people. So it's not limited to just medical background.
Yeah, also, Dr. Kirti, there is this one question which keeps on coming, in the minds of the learners, and that is that even if they have already had a degree or a professional course in this thing, would a continued education or would a continued, say, a diploma program like this, would it be helpful or beneficial in paving again, in maybe giving a rise in their career or something like that?
Yes, because see, there's, like I said, it's a continuous process. Like hospitals run 24/7 throughout the year. Okay, so if you have a, and the regulations, the governmental policies, they keep on changing. So if you are, keep on, if you have to want to update yourself with the current norms or the current regulations and how, some scenarios have changed. And earlier it was mostly curative care, which is, people, the healthcare professionals used to focus on. But now it is very patient centric, it has become. So I think, it has it is going to add to your knowledge. It is going to add to, various current scenario. If you can update yourself to that. So I think that is much needed, and it will be a great advantage to make it a part of your resume in a way. So it will give an edge to you. It will give you a competitive edge over others who don't have such updated knowledge or updated skills.
Great, Dr. Kirti. Thank you so much for, enlightening everyone on this. And just before we end this session, I would just like to ask you your one, advice which you would want to give to the learners who are wanting to make their career in this field.
So yeah, like Dr. Sibal highlighted it very clearly. It is all about, healthcare industry is all about dealing with people. Mostly, it's a difficult field where, you have to deal with anxious or stressed people all the time who are there. So you need to have, lots of compassion. You need to have empathy for such skills will in are much needed. Otherwise, you will end up getting stressed and you will not be able to. So I suggest, if you think you are good with people, you are, you feel for other people, you feel for you have that selfless care. If you want to pass it on, if you have that in you, then definitely you should come and become a part of this sector, because it's not just job satisfaction that gives that comes out of it, but your inner satisfaction also. It will help you go a long way in the take you to if you are happy working there, then you will go, it will give you that success that you aspire.
Great. I think it was a great experience to have you with us here, Dr. Kirti. And thank you to all the learners who've taken out time and, who've joined us. And I'm sure you must have got a lot of insight on how to bring that leader in you, and start working towards making your careers in this field. So thank you so much, everyone, for joining in. Thank you, Dr. Kirti, and again, warm regards to Dr. Sibal from AAFT Online. Thank you
Thank you,
so much.
everyone.
Have a
Thank
good
you
day.
so much. Thank you.